So as it turns out, Norwich are very, very, very good at football, aren't they? Let's talk about it all. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We have had some mental results in the Championship over the last couple of days. Let's go through them in today's video because we've got a lot of talking points to pick out. As always, if you do want to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Do check out the Patreon link, that is down below. We've got some cool videos coming out on there in the next few weeks. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. And there's really only one place to start today, and that's at Carrow Road. Norwich 7, Huddersfield Town 0. This Norwich squad might just be one of the best we've ever seen in the Championship. I mean, last time around, Norwich were absolutely fantastic in the way they sort of cruised to promotion, but this time around, oh my god, everyone's got that bit more maturity about them, and you can see it going forward. I mean, they were absolutely relentless in this game. I think it's summed up by, I mean, even in like added time, Norwich were still completely flying forward. They wanted like 8-9 goals in this game, and for Huddersfield, I mean, we've seen a couple of these performances from them, you know. That game against Bournemouth a few months ago springs to mind as well, but there was the general feeling that things were slowly starting to pick up from Huddersfield. It was a disastrous start to the year, but then all of a sudden they started to pick up a few points here and there, but losing 7-0, I mean, mentally, that's quite damning. I mean, earlier on in the season, we saw Wickham conceding 7 against Brentford, but even then, Wickham had a bit more of a go going forward, didn't they? You know, they scored a couple of goals in that game. Huddersfield here were absolutely woeful. Their players were falling over each other, no cohesion in that back line whatsoever. But the thing I like about this Norwich team, probably most of all really, is that they're not solely reliant on one particular player, because if Buendia doesn't get you, Pukki will get you. If Pukki doesn't get you, Cantwell will get you. They got all the quality in the midfield and in the back line as well. For Teemu Pukki, he obviously bagged the hat-trick in this one. I think it was always going to be the case where he was especially motivated for this game, considering how many chances he missed against Preston. You know, he could have had a hat-trick in that game or even more. So this time round, he was really channeling that sort of tunnel vision going forward, and that more than paid off. Cantwell was absolutely brilliant as well. He was someone who I wasn't completely sold on in the first half of the season, but over these past few months he's really come into his own and is certainly a key component of this Norwich side. But the one player who I really wanted to pick out was Emi Buendia. If we look at his last 11 Championship matches, these stats right here are absolutely staggering. He's had 8 man of the match performances in his last 11 matches, and the numbers that he's currently putting up in terms of goals, in terms of assists, are absolutely mind-blowing. And I think that Buendia, especially now, is putting himself in that conversation for like one of the best players to ever play in the Championship. I'd certainly say like over the last 5 or so years, Buendia might be at the top of my list now. You know, in recent times we've had some wonderful footballers in the Championship, you know, the likes of the Pereiras, the Ben Ramas, we've had Jack Grealish as well, Ruben Neves, some wonderful gifted players, but Buendia at the moment, I mean, those stats right there, he's just unmatched at this level at the moment, isn't he? And then if you go further back, you've got people like Adel Taarabt as well, and things like that, but Buendia is certainly in that conversation now, and yeah, it's a testament to him, and a testament to Norwich for actually keeping hold of him during the summer when it seemed impossible to. But yeah, Norwich are cruising to winning the league this time around, and they can actually seal promotion next weekend as well. So all things considered, this Norwich side are a wonderful watch at the moment. And then from one baffling result to another, we had Sheffield Wednesday 5, Cardiff 0. Who on earth saw this one coming? And I don't know what's happened to Cardiff recently. They were well within the mix for making it into the top 6 come the end of this season, and then they've suffered back-to-back defeats for the first time under Mick McCarthy, and a really shoddy showing in this one. But that shouldn't take away from how good Sheffield Wednesday were. I thought they played on the counter-attack at times absolutely brilliantly. Probably one of the most criticised positions that I've had with Wednesday so far this season has been their strikers and their lack of sort of any sort of cutting edge. Well, Callum Patterson took his goal wonderfully, and Jordan Rhodes bagged another goal for this one. Adam Reach got a brace as well. He was fantastic, but the real man I wanted to pick out was Barry Bannon. He is that sort of player with real quality in this Wednesday side. You know, over the years, we've slowly seen the quality of this Wednesday side being taken away in terms of the players that have left the club and not sufficiently replaced with adequate quality. But the one real player who's still there from, I don't know, would you call them the glory days for Sheffield Wednesday when they were making it into the playoffs and that sort of stuff, but Barry Bannon's still there, and he's very much the heartbeat of this side. And when he's in the mood, he can be an absolutely wonderful playmaker, and he was just that in this game. Now, the question is, because there has been an obvious upturn in performances under Darren Moore, have Wednesday left this resurgence too late in the season? Well, it's an interesting one. Currently, Wednesday find themselves 7 points off safety with a game in hand on Birmingham. Had they lost this game, I think it would have been over for them, and they've given themselves with this result the slightest of chances to maybe claw some ground back on the teams above them. But like I say, it may be too late from this point onwards. If we look at their fixtures from now until the end of the season, it's quite interesting. So Wednesday we've got games against QPR, Swansea, Bristol City, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, Forest and Derby. Now, what's maybe to like about those fixtures compared to some of the other teams around them is that they've got quite a few matches against teams in mid-table who aren't exactly going to have all too much to play for in these final few games. So from that aspect, if Wednesday are motivated enough and we see more of these showings from now until the end of the season, we could see a miraculous run. But I don't know. Wednesday fans and fans of the Championship, have Wednesday left this comeback too late, or is there still some belief in there? And then from one Welsh team who's fallen apart at the moment to another, Swansea losing yet again, this time around to my side, North End. And to be honest with you, even though it took sort of a last minute own goal for us to win it, I thought we were thoroughly deserving of this one. Swansea tried to switch up the system a little bit. They went to a 4-back, but once again the same problems rearing their head. They had such a lack of quality in the final third. They didn't have a shot on target throughout the afternoon, and Daniel Everson, you know, he's never going to get it easier in net for North End. He had literally had nothing to do. Preston got into some pretty dangerous positions. Brad Potts especially could have had about 5 goals throughout the afternoon, but didn't have his shooting boots on. But yeah, Scott Sinclair off the bench in the end, it goes down as a Matt Grimes own goal. The question that you'd ask about Swansea at this point in time is, I mean, that's now 4 consecutive Championship defeats. If things carry on like this, are they even a guarantee for the top 6 anymore? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but at this point in time, Bournemouth, who are currently in 7th, are only 4 points behind them. And at this stage, with the current run, I think that Swansea are looking behind them rather than in front of them at the moment. I think there's a real jeopardy about them dropping out of that top 6 if they don't have some sort of resurgence for these last few matches. It would be a similar sort of capitulation to Forest the other season when they somehow managed to bottle the playoffs. But something's seriously wrong at Swansea at the moment. In terms of North End, fair play to Frankie McAvoy. He's got these last couple of games spot on. The Norwich game, maybe I will say we were a little bit fortunate in, but tactically for this game, I thought we were spot on really. You know, we went for it, we didn't sit back and just accept things. We wanted to be progressive moving forward. Ledson was brilliant, Maestro in the midfield, and Jordan Storey broke the interceptions record for a Championship match. I think it was 9 interceptions or something like that. So yeah, top things all around for Preston. For Swansea, worrying times. Another team that was going for the top 6 is of course Brentford, but they dropped points once again. It was a 0-0 draw against Birmingham. Once again, I sound like a bit of a broken record when I'm talking about Brentford at the moment, but they got themselves into some decent positions, but once again it was that lack of real cutting edge in the final third which ended up costing them. You know, Neil Etheridge I thought was absolutely fantastic for Birmingham. Back-to-back clean sheets for him in the Championship now, and I think that looking at how this Birmingham squad has played since the introduction of Lee Bowyer, I don't think there can really be much of an argument that Aitor Karanka had just lost this group of players, because the levels of sort of commitment to a performance that we're seeing from this Birmingham squad at the moment, I don't think we were seeing under Aitor Karanka, especially towards the end whatsoever. So yeah, Bowyer deserves a lot of credit for that, and realistically to come through these last 3 matches against Watford, Swansea and Birmingham with 4 points, I think that any Birmingham fan would have taken that every day of the week. And Brentford just need to find some way of clicking back up into gear. I mean, once again, they got into some decent areas. Sergi Canos had one unbelievable one-on-one which he managed to chip wide, but Watford will be the laughing really, I think, after this set of results once again. Watford did drop points in the end though. It was a 1-1 draw they had against Middlesbrough, but in the context of everything else, you know, with both Brentford and Swansea dropping points as well, it's not really harmed Watford in their promotion chase. It was a bit of a deflected goal, the first one, wasn't it? Zinkenagel's shot coming in off Ismail Assar, and there was the feeling that they probably needed that second goal, but obviously get back into it from a set piece. For Middlesbrough, still a bit of a mountain to climb. If they were going to forge themselves into the top 6, they'd need to go on quite a miraculous winning streak from here on in. They find themselves 9 points off the top 6 at this point in time, so still think a bit too much ground to cover up on the teams above them, but yeah, I still feel pretty confident that Watford are going to go up in second. And in terms of the race for the top 6, there were also some pretty big results over the last couple of days. Reading getting back to winning ways, beating Derby. It was a game where you almost felt like Reading had to win with the tough fixture list that's coming up for them. Some lovely goals scored in this game, by the way. Elise took his goal really well, and Tom Lawrence scored an absolute worldie for Derby as well. Lucas Jow also got back within the goals. I think that's going to be maybe a bit of a turning point in this season, because his form before that had tailed off a little bit, but yeah, that goal there could do his confidence the world of good. And Bournemouth are keeping the pressure on the top 6 at the moment. It was their 3rd consecutive Championship win as they ease their way past Blackburn. Blackburn, by the way, is 17th in the Championship now. It's been a massive underachievement, and their recent form has absolutely killed their season. Can Tony Mowbray survive this much longer? I'm not so sure. I don't think a team with that much quality in their squad should be anywhere near 17th. But yeah, another good performance from Bournemouth. Ben Pearson's altercation with Harvey Elliott was interesting to say the least. Barnsley also won. They beat Luton 2-1, and could Daryl DK turn out to be the best bit of business done by any Championship club in January, because he could be the marksman that really fires Barnsley into the top 6 this season. Bagged the brace in this one. Probably should have had a hat-trick actually, with obviously that penalty miss towards the end, but did enough to wrap up all 3 points. Millwall managed to win again. That's now 4 wins in their last 5 Championship matches, 2-1 against Stoke in the end. They probably left themselves with a bit too much to make it into the playoffs come the end of the season, but sitting 9th in the Championship at the moment. This second half of the season has been a lot more convincing from Millwall compared to what we were seeing at the start of the season. Forest beat QPR 3-1 in the game, which probably isn't going to mean all too much from here on in for the rest of the season. Now, you know, Forest and QPR established themselves in mid-table. You know, for Forest especially, they've done quite well actually with this recent run of results to really bridge a gap between themselves and the bottom 3 to a position now where 48 points, that's probably going to do them for the rest of the season. Now, James Garner with another goal, by the way. They managed to get him back on loan next season. Who knows what's possible. And at the bottom of the table, there were some absolutely huge matches as well. Coventry beating Bristol City 3-1. Bristol City still having their problems, even with the managerial change. I think that they're going to look to iron those sort of issues out come the end of the season and moving into the summer. You know, I think they're quite fortunate that 49 points is probably going to do it for Bristol City from here and in, not to be seriously dragged into a relegation battle. But yeah, for Coventry, absolutely massive. We've been quite critical of them lately in terms of their lack of goals, but putting 3 away in this one, I think that considering some of those other results down at the bottom as well, you know, with maybe Sheffield Wednesday not dead and buried as we first thought, for Coventry to pick up as many points now as they can from now until the end of the season is going to be massive, because they had started to slip into that sort of next favourite for relegation before these matches. So yeah, massive 3 points there. And then we have Wycombe beating Rotherham by 3-0. Wycombe just won't lie down, will they? And for Rotherham, quite the damning result there. You know, it's all well and good them having the games in hand on the teams above them, but they actually need to put that into practice and pick up some points in those remaining games in hand they have. And with Coventry seemingly picking up, you know, with that win last time out, Birmingham have definitely picked up under Lee Bowyer. Rotherham find themselves now in the position where they're 7 points behind Birmingham, but still with 4 games in hand. So I think the race for survival this season in the Championship is going to, you know, result in an unbelievable finish to the season. But guys, there we have it. There were some of the matches over these last few days which I wanted to pick out and have a little bit of a discussion on. As always, do get your thoughts in the comments down below. Really interested to hear, as yeah, we had quite a few twists and turns over these last few days, I think it's fair to say. So yeah, if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. Check out the Patreon link, that is down below. But apart from that, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.